Hi, thanks.
Hi.
Sorry, I don't know what the fuck happened then. I don't think Zoom is that complicated, but it disappeared.
Yeah, it does happen. I use Zoom every 2 days because I've got a sports coach.
Oh, what are you doing? Lifting weights or?
No, I'm actually doing boxing a lot. I'm really into
Oh,
English boxing, so I do 5 trainings a week.
fucking hell, very impressive. Have you done that before COVID, or has this been a very...
I actually started on the first confinement in March, and after that, I had windows when things were reopening, so I went to the club and training with people and sparring, and it became an obsession. And because I was very sick from COVID, and it really helped me to get me back on my feet.
So you have had it? Fuck.
Yeah, and Jenny as well had it.
Oh, man.
It was very difficult.
Yeah. Debilitating. What was the main symptom that you found the most distressing?
The breathing was horrible, and I still have a pain in the chest, which is a bit lesions. It's gonna take years to get to heal and shit. It's
No
like,
way.
yeah, I had it really bad.
Fuck.
But because
I'm sorry, I wouldn't have known that, but also it's very easy to sort of compartmentalize it into age groups and not really think that
actually you can get it, and we had it on the only gig we did in London at the Roundhouse for the Genevieve show and for the BBC, and that's when everybody had it. It was just a week before the first confinement. So all our technicians, all our musicians, all the people we knew had it. Yeah. It was like super spreading at the beginning.
You were at a super spreader event.
Yeah, we were at a super spreader event. And after that, because we have a TV show, we're doing a French TV show where I do the programmation and Jenny's presenting it in France. And our guests that was Kim Gordon, Ed O'Brien from Radiohead and all that. They all had it on the show. We were very worried about Kim because Kim is 66 or something.
Yeah.
She was all right at the end, but she had it.
So she had it, she was all right?
Yeah, she had it. Everybody on the show had it. Everybody. It was probably 100 of people, 100 of technicians plus artists. It was a massive cluster.
And what happens for you now? Do you get put on a priority list for a vaccine, or are you put to the back?
No, quite the contrary, because, well, I'm in the age group where I don't get the vaccines quick, and also because I've got antibodies and I can't get reinfected. So
do they know that? They don't know how long for, though, I guess.
Because I had it, I became super curious about everything about it. So I nerd out quite a lot about the research and all that shit. And apparently they don't have cases of reinfection. They have 10 where they're asking the question, but right now it's not a thing. It's not a thing, people getting reinfected.
Well, that's one good thing. So
that's one good thing, yeah. That's the first thing.
Have you got a practice, what do you call it?
Yeah, I've got gear. I've got lots of gear. I'm actually buying a house in the countryside right now in France, and I'm actually putting a gym in there, and it became part of my life. It became something I need to practice, and it's a new hobby as well, you know. And I became quite addicted to it.
Do you get a sense from that particular exercise? I mean, there's so much we could be doing, and people have got gyms. I've got a cross trainer, but I'm more of a yoga head. But
cool.
Do you get something quite transcendental happen when you're in the flow?
Completely. And boxing is one of the best way to get frustration out of your system, and in a very clever and intelligent way. It's a very intelligent sport. It's like chess. It's very it's about strategy and how you plan to move around and how you plan to fight back and all that. And it's been. My only regret is that I wish it had been in my life sooner, you know. And but it's.
I did go to a couple of classes ages ago back in London, where by the end of the class we did a little bit of sparring with the teacher.
Yep. Yeah.
Mostly it was really about just fucking getting your cardio fitness up really.
Yeah.
I did enjoy it, but I was so intimidated. I found
the cardio, that's why I didn't go for many years. I was very intimidated, but Jenny, always the one pushing me to do stuff. She was in the club since a year before me, and she was pushing me to try. And I was very scared of it. I was like, I don't have the cardio to do that kind of shit. I'm gonna die. but actually, it's doable. And I had to be very sick and worried about my health to realize, okay, I need to do some shit.
Yeah, so it's kind of kick-started a whole new. Does it feel a bit of a revelation? Do you like dream?
Oh, totally. It's in my life, and it couldn't be a better time for me to practice it. And it actually helped me for anxiety, because those periods are just horribly anxious.
Yeah. Oh, that is really inspiring, actually, because it's quite nice for you to confirm that you were also quite intimidated. You weren't just like, oh yeah, I'm going to give it a try. You're actually.
No. I was like super scared.
Yeah. Oh, well done.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. So you're a yoga head yourself?
Yeah, I mean, it is something I've done for probably like 20 years. And if there's one good thing about this strange time is that my favorite teacher in London had to start teaching, like we're doing now, and through Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
I just love this contact with her. It's just great. She's just in my bedroom. She's like in my head. She's so articulate.
Every day?
3-4 times a week.
Some
days it just doesn't quite happen, but yeah, I've got this kind of she's sort of in a dream space now, just the routine, flipping over the computer's open, and she's in my room, but she's in everybody's bedroom or lounge or whatever, and it's just taking on this whole new thing. So
I totally understand that. That's exactly the feeling I've got when I see the face of my coach appearing in my computer. It's like it's gonna be one great hour.
I feel like I will do it more, or I've got less of an excuse not to do it, because if you're in London, you might get held up, or in a city, or you're going to a location. Hello.
Like having my house cat coming in.
Exactly.
In the Zoom meeting.
Like you were like carried in sideways. How are you?
Say hi.
I'm just hearing about your boxing.
Oh yeah. I love the remix. It sounds fucking amazing.
It's
I hope
so
you
beautiful.
all work together, because it sounds incredible.
Oh well.
Oh, and your voice is a dream. My God.
Thank you so much.
How are you doing? You okay?
We're good. Yeah, I really just can't stop feeling, gratitude for ending up. I ended up really far out in the countryside throughout all of this, and it's just meant that we just work in our home.
Is that where you are right now?
Yeah,
cool.
just trees and
oh, lovely.
Wow,
like a hill.
That's so cool.
So, yeah,
I gotta run right now, but I just wanted to kiss you before I go.
Hey, listen, thank you. And years ago, I think I texted you when Adore Life came out, and I really meant it. I was just like, I didn't want to.
No, I remember hanging out at the Grouch show as well.
Oh, I've got like these 3 or 4 occasions in my life, right? Maybe 5, where I have just been quite wasted, but really interesting people have been in the room, and I fuck it up, You
did fuck it up.
I can't remember.
You were lovely. You don't remember. I remember. It was great. It was a good time. It was lovely.
Yeah, it was. No, I do remember most of it towards the end. No, but yeah, it was great.
The Barbican or something as well with the.
Well, that was it. That was the uncle sort of meltdown, and then we went to the Grouch show. I remember that night with the Savages and the band.
Yeah, no, it was great to talk to you, but I'm always just like, why do I do this when
the wedding?
The wedding. I'm going to leave you on that because I have to go.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for saying that.
The wedding was epic. I love that wedding.
Yeah, well, that's one of the other 5 or 6 occasions where interesting people who are, I admire, sort of just see me. Anyway, it was really fun.
It was a great show. I'm a big fan of Gillespie.
Oh,
always been, to be honest. It's funny. I remember listening to Duke Spirit a lot, and Archie Bronson Outfit and all this. Yeah.
So did you live in West London? Is that how you knew those guys? Or
no, it's you know, when we arrived in London with Jenny, we had that duo called John and Jen, and we were touring a lot inside London, doing all the venues and also that are closing right now.
Yeah.
And we met Gideon because we were on the same circuit the same year with Joe Gideon and the Shark, and we just bounded through just seeing each other playing the same gigs.
Yeah.
We became friends.
Those guys are brilliant, and I love Gideon. And yeah, we did a tour with Gideon a couple of years ago. Actually, it was really good. Yeah,
I love Gideon. I saw him. I saw him recording. We were in the same building when he recorded his last album, and we were finishing "To Love Is to Live" as well in the same studio at Flood Studio at the near Kilburn.
We made part of our first album with him, and
Flood.
Yeah.
How was that?
Brilliant. He's brilliant. Yeah. Yeah. It's really strange to make this connection. Really, I don't know whether you feel the same. Talking about people being in contact, but the more we are kept apart from friends and colleagues and stuff, the more motivated I do feel to connect. As
Me
if
too.
you know, I mean, this unique time in history is obviously giving us a common cause.
Exactly, yeah. We've got checkup calls on musicians and people that we never did before, to be honest. But we do that now. We do a lot of checkup calls with Joe from Idols and saying, "Are you okay?" You know, and just share our frustration, really.
Yeah. Same here. And yeah, I think maybe there's a kind of, I don't know, there's a sort of feeling amongst artists, because we all know that we can't be touring, that even if you don't know someone, I mean, I'd have never been able to just drop you an email or say, yeah, let's ask John. I'd have never done that unless this situation was here. But there was a feeling of, well, what the fuck are people doing? People can't be on the move. They can't be changing hotels or in an airport. So maybe we just reach out. And
totally, we did that a lot as well, you know, reaching out to people, say, hey, what are you doing, do you want to work on that thing? Because
it seems really incredibly focusing. Like if you've been ill, which I didn't know, and that's fucking hardcore, but to recover or to not be ill and see all of this playing out on the news, I just really had a sort of wake up call of just like, fucking work, like get stuff finished, stop procrastinating. And
we can expect I guess a very incredible big amount of music out of this, and we're gonna have loads of artists just doing tons of stuff. It's gonna be very interesting to see this thing unfolding. This shit is over, because it's gonna be interesting.
Earlier with another, she's become a friend now, actually, through this whole process of asking people to remix, but starting with friends and then reaching out to people who I felt were interesting. But Emika is someone who lives in Berlin. She's a composer, amazing player, real techno head as well.
Yeah, cool.
She said something brilliant this week, in that, you know, it's our role to soundtrack this change in history, and we will all be at home or in home studios or whatever, and we will without doubt be kind of coming through with the next step, like the next change, the nurturing song, the recovery music.
Totally. It's like coming back from war, and we have to be brave and keep doing it. You know, when did you release your album?
Came out in August. So there was
2020, right?
Yeah, so there was plenty of time to face.
But you know what we should do? We should make a club of people who are brave enough to release music in that fucking shitty times, because I know tons of bands and artists is just pushing it. It's like, okay, we're gonna wait until this thing is over. But you know what? I applaud people who actually had the courage to do it, because it was a sacrifice, to be honest.
Yeah.
You sacrifice your music because you can't tour it, you can't promote it properly.
Yeah, you can't animate it. You can't animate that story or that collection. You can't animate that work and take it to different shows or festivals.
And it's
I prepared myself for that disappointment, but I also knew that, well, if I'm sat at home with a lot more time, well, you know, kind of a bit more time to have the radio on and be putting music on and soundtracking my day, then why don't I just put it there, and it might fall into someone's ears that needs it. And
it's quite important, and I really think there are two kinds of artists now: the people who released their albums 2020 and those who didn't.
Yeah.
It's like coming back from something quite traumatic because you spend so much money and time on something, and suddenly, I mean, with the Jenny Beth album, I spent 2 years and a half of my life doing it, and having all those great collaborators. It was a big thing for us, such a big thing, and also coming out of Savages, having these solo records that we experienced as well, and suddenly we were planned to tour with Nine Inch Nails, two American tours, doing all the runs of festivals.
Oh fuck.
Suddenly everything just went.
Yeah.
Uh,
Flatline. Fuck.
yeah, everything has been taken away, and it's not gonna come back. Not on this album. So it's heartbreaking. It's like a bit of a trauma. You're like, oh my god, I never think. And I love talking to artists who did release the albums as well, because we've got that in common. We've got that in common, sharing that trauma.
Yeah, I mean, it just obviously the business aspect is really important, but it depends how goal orientated you are.
Yeah.
I mean, could have held it back. I mean, it's not. But then you just risk it disappearing, and it's forward motion just dissipating.
Yeah.
It's just like, look, it feels real and it's emotional for me right now, so we just
let's do it. Yeah, of course.
And have a bit of play or whatever. But
and also in this time, just postponing shit, it's just, you can't even know when it's going to stop. So you have to release something no matter what.
Yeah, and like I say, then it sort of released. I mean, the record's released, whatever, but it releases your own sense of restrictions, in that you're ready to just start some new work, and really, I don't know, just appreciate the time, appreciate your health, and feel,
appreciate what you have. Yes, because the trick in this is to not focus on what you don't have. And that's quite difficult, because you keep thinking you don't have this or you don't have that, and you can't reach it right now. And it's the only to stay positive is just to focus on what you have, which is sometimes just your health, or sometimes just other things. But you have to focus on that. It's so important.
Part of that experience I've really enjoyed. It sort of enhanced. I mean, I've always been interested in meditation and the ideas of non-attachment and observing and being a witness to what's happening, in order that your reactions don't completely fuck up the natural flow of things, just to step back and watch. So in this last year, I think I was able to sort of really manifest that. Just observe what's going on. Try not to, overreact and let your ego sort of fuck with the system. Like, this is happening and it's serious, and there's nothing you can do about it.
There's nothing you can do. It's bigger than us. It's way bigger than us. But for us artists, and especially self-efficient artists, you have to, not having the control is so painful of a situation where suddenly everything has been taken away, and like, God, I've got no control over this. Sometimes you can react to situations where the tour goes wrong, or a release goes wrong. You can try to do something about it and back on your feet and that. But this time, it's bigger than anything. You just can't do anything about it except releasing music the way you. It's the goal is being more clear about releasing music and making people happy with it, because that was the big thing about the album we released. Was that people are reacting like, it's so good to have that in those times, having these emotions coming from musicians. And suddenly we became useful.
Yeah,
it's more obvious.
Soundtracking the emotions again.
Yeah, isn't it? Exactly. Where governments think we are fucking useless, obviously. Clearly. But we proved the contrary with people reacting to it.
And you can only hope that we emerge from this with people on the periphery of music, people who consume music, maybe not in the way that you and I and our friends would, where it's so important, but people on the next sort of edge who really like music, but they don't consider it, they haven't really considered its value in their lives. Maybe we will emerge from this with creative fields sort of so respected for how they've carried the emotions of this strange time.
Yeah.
Just come out of lockdown, sort of taking off headphones, thinking, I've been so moved by what I'm able to listen to and read, and the films I've seen during this time. You know, there'll be a whole kind of like tipping point of the way people see.
Yeah, totally.
We do.
Yeah. And I'm also looking forward to the times where we're gonna go back to it and to the first gig we're gonna do. And I was reading stuff about people journalists making parodies about the after war, where this joy just erupted out of people, and they would appreciate anything, and the audience was amazing. The shows were extraordinary, and I think we're gonna experience something incredible after that.
Yeah.
Very positive, and people crying. I'm pretty sure the emotions are gonna be all over the place. You know.
I'm sort of looking forward to that sort of ultra intimacy.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you can look at an audience member in the eyes and you're connected because you're doing this thing where they've come because they like your music.
Yeah.
But now we can connect staring at each other, knowing like we've got through this.
We got through it.
And this family of humans rather than, oh, you bought a ticket. And
exactly. Than just the business aspects of things. Something is going to happen. We did experience that in Paris with Savages when the Bataclan happened, you know, the terrorist attack.
I do. My good friend Dave, I don't know if you've ever been up to Rancho.
Yeah, okay, Dave, yeah.
Dave's a very good friend, a close friend.
Okay.
So yeah, that was a fucking...
That was a nightmare. That was a proper nightmare. And I was supposed to go to that gig because I know Jesse as well. And
I'd actually just sung with them a couple of days before at the Forum in London. I lived there, and they were like, "Oh, come up," and we fought with them. So I was just going to sing like on one song, and we had this chat like, "Why don't you get on the bus and just come to Paris for a couple of days?" And, you know, I was almost going to. There was some stuff going on. I was like, no, I'll see you somewhere else down the line. You know.
And that night they were playing at the Bataclan, and my friends Boningen, you know, the Japanese band, they were playing at La Cigale, and I can't miss Boningen shows because they are fucking incredible. So I went to see Boningen, and then the whole thing unfolded, and it's just a real nightmare happening in real time. And after that, Savages played a month after that in Paris. When they played The Door, everybody started crying. It was so intense.
Yeah.
And the release of emotions and intimacy was so strong. And I thought, fuck, that's why we're here for. That's, you know. And I think we're gonna experience that after the pandemic. I think people are just gonna let it out, you know, proper let it out. It's gonna be very interesting.
Yeah, I feel a combination of a little while ago I felt real grief at realizing nothing was going to happen. There was no live experience on the horizon, and I was really down. So me and my partner and our little kid, we just started pretending we were doing sound checks. You know, he doesn't know what we're saying, but he plays along. So he really likes the drums. Then he gets off the drums, picks up a cardboard box and plays that instead. Whatever. But we just doing like.
So do you have one child?
Yeah, a little boy.
A little boy. Oh, that's great. Yeah. So you have your studio here in the countryside?
Yeah, little home studio. Just you know, it's good. I guess that was another reason for getting in touch. Really, is that you have a similar. You know, there's not many people who work together, produce music constantly over many years that are together. Not loads of people that I know anyway. So it's kind of piqued my interest and.
So Toby worked with you since he started Duke Spirit with you, basically.
I started Duke Spirit really with probably Luke on guitar. We all kind of came together. We were all housemates and friends. We were friends, you know, to begin with. There was and our relationship, you know, came after quite some time.
Okay.
But yeah, we've been friends for 20 years.
Oh, cool. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, it's the same with Jenny and I. Like, we're together since now 19 years, and we've been working together since 18 years. Maybe the first year was just, you know, testing the water, and we weren't sure about what was going on. And yeah, we kind of one of the couples in the in the music world where we still keep working together. Yes, and I think it's
Yeah, I really love it actually. And I was talking to someone recently, and I feel like the question came up of course I can work with other people, and I will, and I
yeah,
collaborate with other people at times. You know, it's
yeah,
not that this is the only thing I do, but I really enjoy creating songs that I'm going to call my own, or my band's.
yeah, yeah,
I really enjoy working with Toby, and at no point do I ever really feel like it's because I'm in a comfort zone, because he
okay,
knows me so well. He
yeah,
will not let me fall into a bit of laziness, or
yep, yeah,
leaving a line half finished because I think it's okay and I just can't think of the next bit. You know, he'll push me, and I just think sometimes if you work with you know, I don't know, songwriters or
yeah,
producers who are being paid, and you don't share a home with them,
yeah.
they can be a little bit too polite. That actually you
Yes, yes, of
remain in
course.
a comfort zone. Whereas when you've had this working relationship for years, and you're also going to discuss the washing up later, you know,
Yep, yeah,
you just flow into this time
zone. Yeah,
zone, you know, where you've got to push each other. You have
yeah.
to, and you know each other's weaknesses, and you push each other. And I think I just learn, you know, I learn
That's
every
very
song.
that's a strong experience of life, to be honest, and it's a lot of work. I always considered that, as you mentioned, you have to not be lazy, but not just on the music, but on the relationship as well. You have to be very aware about what you've got and not fuck it up. Uh, because, and it's work. It's work because it's easy to become assy about living with someone or working with someone all day long. And it demands a bit of mental strength to resist those temptations of what if, what if I meet someone else and we do that, blah, blah, blah. It's like, we found it, Jenny and I, that we worked on our relationship in a healthy way, not struggling, but we saw that very early on that if we let shit happens like it's been given to us and not, it's gonna be like anybody else. It's just gonna fall apart. Um, so we've been careful of each other. We've been careful about, we cherished what we had and worked on it very hard. Um,
Yeah,
and
I think that word's probably come up in my relationship too. In that, of
mm,
course, there's times where we argue, and it's,
oh
you know,
yeah, big time.
difficult, but the cherishing the fact that you could go to work, you could go to a workplace,
Yeah,
even as an artist, any kind of artist, and build a working relationship with someone, and you would respect it so much, you would treasure it,
yeah,
because
yeah,
it has enabled you to
yeah.
express yourself. And just because it's also a personal relationship doesn't mean you should just, you know, like,
Exactly.
you know,
Yeah, and
you have to treasure it, you have to nurture
no,
it.
you have to be very careful. You have to be very careful, and that's something we worked on very early on. And sometimes I don't know if you experienced that. Being a couple sometimes put people off in the music industry, or you would have people, you would meet managements or sometimes labels or A&Rs or whatever. They like to divide people to conquer much, and we've been in situations sometimes where like the husband is going to come out in the room, or stuff like that very early on. Before we've been very we've been very respected after Savages, but before that people were questioning the couple thing. They were questioning it. They could see Jenny being some kind of a light in the room, and she's like a star, like
And
she's.
what are you doing, holding her back?
Yeah, exactly. And I had that in my life. We had that very early on. After that, I proved I wasn't there to impeach things, or I proved I was there to push things. But people are being suspicious.
Yeah. It is tricky, isn't it? It's unique, and it's
Yeah,
tricky. It's tricky until you sort of prove your own strength, really. Until you
exactly. You have to. Okay, I need to work double to prove them I'm there to not to fuck around.
yeah.
Uh, but I did have very bad arguments with people sometimes, being like, well, who the fuck, you know. It's just-
They were lucky that they met you then and not now.
yeah. But that's where my hostile name came from.
Right, is that right? Out of
Yeah.
that time with those people.
I was bad in communicating with people from the business, and I I had some. I was proud of it, so the name came out from that, and yeah, that was weird. That was weird times. I was very scared of everything, to be honest, and scared of people touching my music or trying to release it. Or I was a bit of an asshole.
Good job we didn't talk at that wedding then.
Yeah, totally. But I was way intimidated by you at that wedding, because Duke Spirit was. We listened a lot to Duke Spirit.
I can't believe it. So funny.
Yeah. To be honest, and we were at the same table as you, where I was literally sitting in front of you.
What?
Yeah, that was you and James Klavunos, which is also a hero of mine.
Yeah,
And,
mine too.
And there was his wife. I can't remember her name. She's a press agent.
Yeah, Sarah, is it?
Sarah, yeah, Sarah. And yeah, I remember the whole thing. Yeah, I remember the whole thing.
But were we talking over the table? I feel like it was very noisy.
You were way drunk. You didn't talk that much, but that was very entertaining. And our sound man, Matt. Do you know Matt? He did the sound that night for you. And Matt was at the table as well. So we were just chatting with Matt, and we didn't know a lot of people at the wedding, to be honest. It was just the two of us.
We should have.
I know. It was just the two of us.
Oh man, it was yeah. Well, it was good. It was good. It was funny.
Yeah, it was funny. I don't like weddings that much, to be honest.
I've never been to a wedding where there was a lot of Scandinavian family. So I don't know if you remember, it was like toast and then drink snaps all the time. That's what fucked me up.
That's what got.
I mean, it was because it was a wedding, so you go yay, and then every time there was a new bit of a speech and that it was this and this.
God.
I was just.
See, Jenny and I can't be trapped because we don't drink alcohol. So yeah, we stayed super clear.
Have you not? You haven't drunk in your adult life?
Yeah, we did a little bit, and even I'm not lying, because at that time we were drinking actually, but I was a very low drinker, and I stopped at some point completely because I thought, what's the point? I don't like that. And Jenny was on tour with Savages, and it was difficult to manage the healthy thing because they were touring so intensely very early on that you get free booze every night. And she was boozing a little bit too much, and she completely lost her voice on the tour. It was very difficult to get it back. And she saw a doctor saying, you have to stop boozing, you have to stop tea, coffee, and talking too much, at least for 3 weeks. So she did that, and she never came back to alcohol. She said, okay, it's not for me. And we became this weird rock and roll couple that doesn't drink, that don't drink.
I feel like I'm getting a message this month. I was just reading something else about someone else's sobriety, and I mean, I'm a mum. I'm like in the middle of nowhere. It's not something that's a problem or that regular, but on tour, you know, it is a prop. It is a prop for sure.
On tour, I was talking about it just early on this morning with someone who was in the room with me. It's like, that's fucked up. That actually my boxing coach, he doesn't know about our world at all. And
I love that. Don't you love that about?
Oh, I love that. I love that so much.
Yeah.
And he was asking all sorts of questions. And he's a Muslim, so he doesn't drink because of his religion. And I said, we don't drink as well. And he told him about the experience of going on tour and seeing the first thing you see in backstage is just bottles of whiskeys and beer. And you're like, ugh. No, it just makes me think to think about it, because you're like, oh God, that's not healthy. That's weird. That's weird to think that musicians need that shit to perform. I had a long chat with Bobby Gillespie because we recorded an album with Bobby that's going to come out in June. Bobby's now is super sober, and he was the king of that.
I know. I was this big Scream fan. Like I've seen him play a lot, and you know, he's a kind of like he's a kind of an idol for me as a teenager.
He's the coolest, you know. He's the coolest.
It's weird growing up feeling that as a teenager that fucked upness was exciting and dangerous and something that you must try to push yourself, you know, to challenge yourself to see how far you could go. You know, that was.
And that was very interesting. We worked with him for a year on this album. It's going to be a Bobby Gillespie album and a Bobby Gillespie and Jenny Beth album. And that was very interesting because he's clean now since, I don't know, probably 4 years. And he was telling it was very refreshing to work with us because it's the first time he's in the studio with very sober people. And he thought he was really healthy, and he didn't know that feeling whatsoever of being healthy and having people just enjoying music without being fucked up. And it's a long journey for him to acknowledge the fact that he's an addict and he had loads of problems. He's got great stories though, amazing fucked up stories, but at the end of it, he was very, very sad, and he started to have his first child, and Katie was fed up with having someone so fucked up, you know, and make him change, having kids make him change, and meeting Nick Cave as well, because Nick Cave told him how to go back on stage and being sober.
I have wondered that. I was watching something just recently, like looking back at when they did Screamadelica at Alexandra Palace. I don't know why I was looking at that anyway, because I'd gone there to see one of they played for like 3 nights or something, didn't they?
Yeah.
I was thinking, fuck, I was aware that like he was definitely sober by around that time, and I thought, wow, how do you do that when you've had a career in music for 30 years and most of the time you've been out of your mind?
Yeah.
How nervous are you now as a
He did say that the most difficult thing was that he told Nick Cave back in the days, like, what do I do with my hands? He walked on stage sober, didn't know, it's like, what the fuck are they for? You know? And he was just like, just relax, you know? And Nick Cave told him, just relax. He's going to come back after 2 or 3 shows, not more. It's going to be okay. He's going to kick in. Oh. And yeah, that's very inspiring to see, okay, you can still be cool without being fucked up, you know? And,
well, yeah, I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen, there's a British documentary that was shown in the early 2000s, maybe the 90s, but it's just Nick Cave talking about how he basically got himself off heroin.
Okay.
Took himself to a sort of place that kind of gets a little bit of... a bit derided in Norfolk, like Norwich, you know, it's kind of seen as not necessarily a cultural, sexy hotbed, but that's just, you know,
that's what I love about him.
Partridge show, I'm afraid. But yeah, he took himself there to a small village, I think, and he kind of did the work himself. He did the work himself. He did himself out of you know, society to do it, which is amazing. It's an amazing documentary. I haven't seen it for a long time, but
I'm obsessed with that group of people, the Bad Seeds and all that. And I'm obsessed by them. I think it's the most incredible rock band ever of my generation, I guess. You know, I had the chance to meet Warren several times. He came to the flat here, and
of course, because he lives in Paris.
He lives in Paris, yeah, and it's very inspiring. Like Warren is inspiring. Warren is like what. His stories and the way he sees life and he analyzes things, it's precious.
The way he talks, he's quite, he's very considered.
Yeah.
And he has a very hypnotizing way of talking in his hands. I've met him a couple of times, and I was in the studio with those guys, just Warren and Nick and some friends who were doing something for the Lawless soundtrack.
Yeah.
I kind of wasn't on, but I was singing the Emmylou part.
Nice, I love that soundtrack.
Getting it ready, and anyway, so maybe I spent 2 days, and
That's cool.
I am such a fan that I sort of pretend I really minimized that. I was so, yeah. So we talked, and we ate food together, and we sung a bit, and we sat at the piano, and it was amazing. But he would probably not even realize that I was a big fan.
Yeah, he's cool like that.
I was just trying to be casual.
He's super.
I regret it so much, because I
Super
had so many questions I would have liked to have asked.
That's why he's the coolest. I mean, he just walked in the flat, like we knew each other. They just so super fucking weird. But he was like at ease, you know, just sitting down, having some coffee, some tea, and chat, you know. And I was like, fucking hell. Wow.
They are the real deal. They're the good.
They are the real deal. They're super.
And they're the good people, you know. They're the.
Yeah. And they experience the bad shit, so they can talk about it, and that's what I love about Bobby as well. He's well intentioned now, you know, and he wants to share his story. And he's actually writing a book at the moment about this.
Oh, great! Okay.
Yeah. Listen, I need to pack my suitcase because I'm going to the countryside as well.
Yeah, you do that. I should just say thank you so much again.
Well, I don't know if is there anything usable. I think we just connected and chatted.
Oh yeah, well definitely, and no, thank you so much. But
you know what? Let's do that again. You know, let's chat about your new music. Let's chat about what you want to do next and how we can collaborate together.
That would be a dream. Yeah.
Let's chat.
I really wanted to know, like, what is the piano your first and foremost love? Is that
absolutely not? It's I'm a drummer. I'm a drummer, and I do have some feelings on the piano, but it's super.
Definitely. The remix that you did for me, I mean, you know, I have fallen in love with it, and it's.
Oh, thank you so much.
It has.
That was the goal, to make you fall in love.
We'll leave it there.
Because I started the remix thinking, I imagine you in a movie scene, to be honest, and I soundtrack that movie scene, because you're so charismatic and your voice is so charismatic. I thought, what about her sitting in the tube station, having all these thoughts about life, and having this one guy looking at her and being a bit menacing and stuff. So I started to just trip around, and I've been inspired by your voice and your intention, because, as I said, by Mel, I think your voice, intention, and your singing is always incredibly. Is telling a story. It's just. You have that thing that Bobby has. When you sing, you have the impression it's already sitting in the mix so nicely. It's just, you don't have to do anything. Bobby is just trying some lyrics. I've worked with him for a year, and just trying some lyrics randomly. It sounds fucking good all the time. You know, the singers like that, those born singers. And you have that, I think. And you really have that.
That's,
you know,
carry me through the rest of our UK lockdown. I'll just think of you saying that every day, and I'll be like, fucking.
No, I was like, of course I want to work on my voice. And I was like,
well, listen, I will. We'll pick up this conversation again.
Yes, let's do that again.
If you truly have the time and you would like to, then let's collaborate in some other way with more of this kind of menacing beauty that I
or even joyful moments. We can do that as well.
And I did play a gig in a boxing ring. I forgot. I should have said.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, you've inspired me now. Maybe my next record will be about, you know, attaining sobriety and fitness and amazing biceps.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah. All right. Listen. Good luck with your travels.
Say hello to Toby and see you very soon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.